Well, today oh, sorry. I'm, like, constantly interrupting you right now, like, speak.
Well, I don't know what the topic is. You're gonna surprise me with it, so I figure I might as well drink.
Cheers, mix, click, and code with Boozy browsing, sipping and fixing the web one cocktail at a time.
I'm, like, mentally doing the drum roll whenever I started the countdown, so I'm,
Do you have
like,
some
doing
audio
this
for
a
that
lot.
too?
What?
We need some audio for the drums, actual drums.
I have it. Oh, and I also have an actual drum somewhere here too. But, like, it's funny that, like, the 5-second countdown, I always end up doing this, and I've noticed that I saw me doing it a couple times on other episodes, just doing this.
I don't know the title of the song, The Final Countdown.
I don't have to well, jump right into my drink. I am going back to wine this time. You can see that I actually couldn't wait, I opened it.
Nice.
I don't know how to pronounce this.
My, my, um, is that I can't read it. I think I know what it means. Let's let the viewers. Maybe we'll get some comments. It,
Last time I had the bourbon barrel wine, I actually ended up liking it. Like, I bought that for the bottle, but so I was like, "Oh, another one, so let me try that." So it's a Cabernet, uh, bourbon barrel aged from California. I don't know why they have a different language for it, but rich Cabernet Sauvignon aged 3 months in bourbon barrel. So, see, like, does it tell you about how it tastes like? Wine offers rich, indulgent experience with jammy blueberry and blackberry flavor, clocked in caramel and smoky spiced notes. So, that's my ooh wine.
nice opening too.
I
Well,
got my
oh, go ahead.
little chance.
Dark glass. So I'm doing my third beer from Busey Brews, and it's their Smash,
Mhm.
which I lost the paper with all the descriptions because I was sick and out. So
I
I'm
did
not going
that.
to critique this one because it.
I actually read it, I think, on
Yeah.
the last step one when I
Oh yeah.
was yeah.
I'm not going to critique it again because it's been sitting longer than it should have sat. So I'm not going to get sick. It just might be flatter or something. We'll see. But
Well,
it is a
you're
nice big beer too.
how is it?
I like it.
Yeah,
I
I
like it a
liked it a
lot.
lot.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. I love the note on, I think, on one of the owners, I think, that I was
really?
like, I really like I
Yeah,
especially like their stout, that was my favorite, and
yes.
then, like, yeah, but I did like the other one too.
I mean, I definitely like this one, but it would be my third favorite of the and I don't remember the second, so the stout would be the first. Do
Mhm.
you remember the names? The second one.
Stout was a milk stout, and I forgot
Yep.
the second one. Some, like, orange something flavor,
Yeah.
Smash something?
Well, this is a Smash. It was something I can't even remember. It's been so long. It's been over a month.
Yeah, I have to look at it again, but
I
I
do
like
remember liking that one a bit more than this one.
me
I
too.
gotta go up there. I
Yeah,
was
me too.
actually in Netherlands Sunday, this like 2 days ago, but I got there late and I was trying to get to a campsite and I didn't wanna, like, stop and I'd
Go
be in the
there, yeah.
dark. So which was good, um, because I actually got stuck in the snow, the drive up. Yeah, and I actually posted a little bit about this, because I did a quick short when I was up there, but yeah, I got stuck and almost slid off the trail, and it was dark within 40 minutes after I got out of it. So
So you're
luckily I didn't stop at the brewery and, definitely not have a drink and try to do that, but even if I was gonna eat. So,
you were
yeah.
actually at campsite? I thought you were just doing that in your backyard or something,
No,
because you're
no,
at a little
I went up to I mean, it's the foothills, it's outside of Boulder, about an hour and a half away from me. Well, Netherlands, like an hour a little over an hour. So, no, I was in a real place camping. Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, I don't think I would say if I was in my backyard 'Cause I
No,
would do
because
that
like you
too.
look, you look so cold, and it was also it's a whole cold freeze coming up, so I didn't think you would actually be traveling in the cold.
It was so warm during the day, and then it dropped up there. But it was in I got home, and then Monday, it was, like, decent here. Like, it was warmish here, I felt like, and that's mainly because I was up there probably. But, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like,
it
you
was
might
cold.
laugh, but Florida went really cold. It went down to 25 and 28. So
I mean,
I
that's
read
cold.
it I read it that it was the coldest in 15 years because it's
Ugh.
below freeze. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I bet, and, I mean, it's not comfortable
no.
even here. I'd rather it be 40s in the winter.
Yeah. So today went back to about high 50s, and I think it's gonna go down again midweek, but whatever. So I'm doing wine. Anyways,
This would be a good
so
summer beer. I
that
mean, it is a good beer, but this one I think would be a really good one for the summer too.
yeah, yeah. Well, today oh, sorry. I'm, like, constantly interrupting you right now, like, speak.
Well, I don't know what the topic is. You're gonna surprise me with it, so I figured I might as well drink.
Yeah. So I come up with the 3 topics that I kinda wanted to discuss in a way, but I wanted to surprise you because it's some of them relates to things that we have experimented, and/or, but you might also curious about your thoughts on these. So, just start with the first one. This one, I said the dead internet theory is finally verified. And I'm like, "What the hell does this mean?" It's
Dead
like
internet theory?
yeah, so this is the ultimate podcast rabbit hole. For years, a dead internet theory was a fringe conspiracy that night the web is 99% bots. In February 2026, so it's like now, the data is starting to prove it. So recent 2026 report suggests that 50% of all the internet traffic is now automatic bots. So it's like I don't know how much of that is true. So the question
Believe
is
it.
that
Now.
yeah, the question is if the bots are writing the content, AI, bots are reading the content, scrapers, and bots are engaging with the content, click farms, is the social web just a ghost town of machine talking to each other? I don't know how much of that is true though.
Yeah, I know. I think the other than the last statement, I
Mhm.
think it's very true where, yes, all of that is happening.
All right.
Um, all that has been happening. Like, I'm gonna not to be political at all, but and like him or not, when Elon bought Twitter, right?
Mhm.
Like, there was a whole thing kind of because he bought it and then things were publicized about, like, the actual number of real people on Twitter. And I don't remember the numbers, but it was a significant percentage, maybe even close to a majority of actual accounts on Twitter were shown to be bots at that time. And that's been years now. And it only has gotten worse or different since then. And it's not just on the social media platforms, but engaging in, I guess they're all technically social media, but like any kind of informational sources that people get their quote unquote news from. And I think those sources are typically bot traffic. Um,
That made me curious because we talked about personalization hype
mm,
the other day. I think it was like last episode or 2 episodes ago. So the numbers are seeing like the really big um jump from the numbers. And like I think that we questioned that at the time too. It's like how much is it actually really effective? And I think this has a little bit to do with it too, because even though it might not be all like, 99% or it might not even be 50%, but it's a lot of it is actually driven by and handled by AI or bots or automated. And I don't know if it's like it's really measuring the true things at this point, if you're even integrating this whole AI efficiency tools.
yeah, I think it. I wonder where they get. I mean, I'm sure they're reporting real data, obviously, but like, I bet our website, I bet it's that percent, like 99% is all bots because we have such little. human traffic, and that's just known.
Mhm.
So, like, Google's a bot, literally Google bot.
Right.
All the normal crawlers represent more traffic even before the onslaught of AI and creation of all these tools and all these bots by non-developers or non-development companies. Even before that, it was high percent quote unquote bot for sites like ours. And then you get higher traffic, higher user traffic, like human user traffic sites. I wonder if they're getting crawled even more than before. Like our volume is kind of the same, but it was always high, like percent wise. But then those other ones that are probably getting spiked in traffic from the bots um, offsets that percent pretty quickly, I guess.
But my real question is that if this continues, is there any way to measure the real engagement?
Yes, assuming the bots are good actors and are continuing to like send over the headers. This is a technical thing, but they should be sending their request headers saying they're some kind of bot. Um, so then the final data shows real data, right? I think the real issue is around newer technologies that are
Mm.
using browsers on machines to crawl, and that browser is just sent. It doesn't know that it's being controlled by a bot. So then you got definitely dirty data then, because it's just showing that it's Chrome, whatever version, on a Mac OS.
Or even is it necessary, you think, it's to have some regulations around it to transparently tell that this is from a bot or some sort of automated thing?
I don't, I don't know. In regulations, there are certain ones, but more of it's standardized, right? So there's standards around communication. And then I think what has to happen are and this is what's happened in the past, those standards get implemented. And if you don't adhere to them, then you're just getting blocked, right?
Get
So these are
penalized.
like at the top level before you get to any servers or anything else. The the corporate, and this is less government and more like just companies
Mhm.
create these standards and organizations, and then they get approved, right? So that could I don't know if that's going to happen fast enough. Um, and again, if if the if the bot itself is controlling what used to be something controlled by a human, like a machine, like a laptop that has a browser installed, I don't know how you would ever enforce it, unfortunately.
Right.
So, like, if it's just based on rules and people adhering to rules
Right.
versus regulation and laws.
Yeah. But my question isn't like, well, can that be effective or not? But it's more like, do you think there's a need for it?
Mm.
Because it's dirtying up the actual stats or numbers or data.
Yeah, I mean, yes, for the data.
Mhm.
Um, the the argument there, like just purely on data, would be that, well, it's growing, but it's going to be a consistent, like, you won't be able to compare year over year, let's say, like specific numbers. But if you look week over week, month over month, it's going to continue to grow. It should increase to a smaller percent every month. So your percent real users and the effect of whatever it is, like the traffic to users to transaction, whatever that ends up being, right, is the same month to month. Won't be the same year over year. Um, and it'll be a big decline if you don't have any other way of measuring it. But then you get into tools that should be smart enough to know, like, well, look at the month to month, and then I now know that it should make estimates about what last year looked like,
Mhm.
and what the percent of bots used to be on a unknown kind of scale. It's kind of like a baseline, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we had this issue too, but it's like almost feels like this is kind of mudding up the actual getting the real leads, even though the number says otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's that reporting and data. Like if you're truly trying to measure and make changes, let's say, make changes and like respond to those changes,
Mhm.
that's hard. If you're just trying to know like how your site's doing, well, that the only number that matters there is the like qualified lead, qualified sale, transaction, whatever that ends up being. So that doesn't get like that's that's at the human level of either something was shipped, something was sent, something was like signed, um, and and that was an actual action. So those numbers don't lie, I guess, would be one way to put it. But everything in before that is going to be harder to trust. I would
Right.
say.
So you really have to have a full scope of numbers in order to make sense of it now.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So my second topic, this is actually an interesting thing. We play with it a lot. I'd even tested this not on the actual development side, but on the um was it 3D animation side too. There's a vibe coding, which is coded by AI. Um Vibe coding and death of junior dev. And I wanted to bring it up again because I know we kind of touch base on this a lot, but especially when we're testing out OpenClaw lately, kind of wanted to revisit this to see if there's any changes in your thoughts or even like something it's worth debating. So the term, blah, blah, vibe coding. So vibe coding is pretty much coded by AI, not by real human. I even it's funny that I didn't even know what that meant until we really play with it.
Yeah.
And
Well, I think it
so
meant. I think it's like a lot of other things. I mean, just get into there. I think vibe coding started out on almost two paths of
Mhm.
it was coding alongside of AI, and it was a different way of doing things. So it was like you're in a vibe, right? You're in a zone. And then it transitioned into the ability to just type prompts into it, and they had built these tools around it that would just
Right.
create
I
things,
forgot
right?
about that. Actual vibe coding. I was actually thinking the same thing when
Yeah.
I
So
read the
I do think
term.
think it was two things, and then it kind of merged, and now it's kind of just all the things
Mhm.
around using AI to build things, whether you're
Right.
actually a coder or just typing in prompts. It's all considered vibe coding, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Oh, so I was gonna say, but go ahead.
I'm just kind of reading through it. But well, I'll ask the question I have in mind in a little bit. I wanted to say the debate is the tech debt a real thing anymore, even with AI just refactoring the whole code base in second? I'll answer that in a little bit. Are we raising in general generation of artifacts who can't actually fix a pipe if it leaks? That's a very good point. But am still thinking that like this, I don't think you can actually create a website, like a stable production ready website with vibe coding only, even though there's a lot of people advertising it, but it was proven by various people who actually have a production ready site or even an application that it's not production ready. With that, I know there are certain things that I'm kind of curious about what your thoughts are on how much of it, speaking of tech debt, how much of it can you trust to delegate to this AI junior dev
Uh-huh.
versus how much you will actually um, not trust on this thing? And we can get into the second question after.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, so early on, I felt like there's some promise here because I looked at myself building things with vibe coding tools, whether they were the UI only ones that sent into GitHub or the ones in VS Code, right? And I was like, well, yeah, this actually accelerates my ability, and even now, like I can get into like what I'm doing now, but yes, it felt like a lot of promise. But then people started, and they are still talking about how they're shipping, like they're able to potentially ship products, and they're not developers, and they coded their first site with Claude Code, or and I don't want to make fun of it because because they're kind of making a joke about it, so that's fine. It is okay to make fun of them, I guess, but
Yeah.
you didn't code something. You
Ask the AI to code it.
Yeah, you prompted,
Yeah.
and and that's it does a it does a good job of what you asked for it to do if you ask the right things. Um, and if we got into this a lot, and I'm still seeing it today, and if you did it all at once,
Right.
every additional thing you ask isn't, and just you're literally asking it to break itself.
Right. Potential
And
for
that's
the
still
whole
the
prone
case
to
here.
errors. Right.
Um, I don't think that I I could be proved wrong, but I don't think that vibe coding has the ability to maintain itself. Um, so you could maybe build and launch a website, even like security. Yes, no, you're kind of rolling the dice there. It might do well the first time, but I'd almost guarantee if you're trying to maintain it with these tools, yeah, it's gonna break. Um, and then maybe break in a way that it can't even bring itself back.
Also,
Um,
you have to know exactly what to ask.
yeah, yeah,
So,
you have to
right.
be either a developer or a product kind of manager, owner person, right? To know they know their product, they know like all the things, and they've documented it, and then they could put that into it. I think those are like that's the best chance, or a developer that can fix it as they see it happening. Those are the kind of the two best paths. Like for my wife, for my adult kids now, like they're not technical enough. Like my wife runs her own business. She could like put in a bunch of requests to it, but I don't know that she would know how to do it as a like a PRD or something that would be documented well for a machine to just build off of yet. Um,
Yeah. And it's not just that because you actually have to know the right knowledge to ask the right question. And I'm noticing that more and more, especially when you're trying to even like a simple task as generating a thumbnail for your blog post. Let's say you're putting that in. Mm. I remember it's like one of those like a oh moment is that whenever I try to put like a very vague prompt versus I ask the even LLM to create a prompt to generate certain things, and the description, the detail of the description is completely different. And from the detail, I have to fix what I don't think is right and then put it in, and then it will come up with the ones that are about 80% that I liked. So that's a one example. But if you're doing that in coding, you really need to know exactly what you want. You can't just vaguely describe it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
and I mean, we got into like what the question originally was around tech debt, right? And that's how tech debt happens. Is I mean, like in a old school model
Mhm.
a year ago, um, you'd have people making requests. There would be tickets. Tickets would get accomplished, and you would never like, and then it would add, feature delete, feature add, feature delete, feature add, and you keep going along, and you do it in ways that are based on time and constraints that put into like basically create tech. We call it tech debt, right? It's the extra code, it's the inaccurate code, it's commented out code even like to the worst case, and it continues to build on it, or functions that don't get used anymore, or two functions that are like copied and changed. So all those things happen over the course of X amount of time, and that's what used to happen. And then you take time to clean up that tech debt and go back to zero. With AI coding, it happens just faster, and like you can guarantee on every single prompt, it's creating tech debt. Like when I see it, because I'm looking at the code, every single prompt creates more tech debt. So that's why, like I was saying, after the first one, you're going to be going to the wrong direction. And like it's honestly that Cloud Code different level. Like honestly, it's hard to like really equate to how that, because it's also, in my opinion, it's a developer tool. I know that there's plenty of other people using it as well, but it's a really good developer tool, and it's actually thinking through the changes it's making. It feels like, and it does clean it up a bit better. And there's ways of using it just to clean up code, but this is just thinking a little bit further in the future. Like we've made these changes and they've sped up development, right? Like, but now we're February 2026. The expectation now going forward is that we can do development at this rate. And now the company's investment are going to be based on that.
Mhm.
And if it doesn't continue to accelerate, we then get to the same point where there's not enough time and budget allocated for people to run the process. Not enough tokens. We're not going to spend enough money on tokens to then run the processes that clean it up because we only can spend this amount of money in this amount of time. Like everything got reset again.
Mhm.
And that's how things have played out in the past because we've constantly gotten faster as developers, but there's always less time and less budget to fix the things we've been doing. And this won't be any that much different. Um, so we're still going to have tech debt, I think, but it's going to be faster and bigger.
Yeah, I actually resonate with that
Yeah.
more with the tech debt side because we well, firsthand, because when we were like even with I think it was a portion of the Boozy browsing site, I was putting initial submission form
Hmm.
section as a separate standalone app using vibe coding. But it actually is one of those a classic example. I have to iterate a lot, even though I asked the right question and I manually interfered multiple times. And this was one of those things that I think we were trying to update it over the course of whatever months. So initially, what we put was a very, very basic MVP type of thing, but we're adding more features into it. And while it was doing it, it was just deteriorating and it was breaking it. It was like a simple things like integrate with
Yeah.
HubSpot, integrate with other third party. It start killing yourself pretty much. And at the end, I have to pretty much nuke it and go back to my own version of like a simple
Right.
integration.
Start
It
over.
didn't break, but I had to completely trash it at the end. And we just use it as internal tool for some helper thing. But it was up to a point that it wasn't even rendering correctly. Because over the iteration of it's like maybe like 40th iteration of different things that we're trying to add, it just creates more and more defects over time that it's got to a point that I can't even fix it anymore.
Hmm.
That's probably resonating with what you're saying that if you started with that, especially like a higher caliber site, this was like a really simple thing. It was supposed to do one or three things at the end, pretty much. And it started with one, but we added a couple features into it. But it was a very, very basic features that are very common, but it couldn't even handle it.
Yeah. And even like, again, Claude is different. Even GitHub Copilot, that's different. Cursor is kind of borderline, I think. But then
This
everything
was so
else, all the
closer.
other ones
Yeah.
that I tried with playing with, like I could make code edits myself, but then it would just overwrite my edits,
Yeah.
like, and it would go back to like it would try to do its thing again.
Yeah.
Like it didn't. I don't think that it didn't. It wasn't a team player, I guess would be one way to put it. Um,
I mean, for this one, I mean, it's a little older version by now, but it was started with, I think I started with Gemini first. And then
or
at one point, like after the first iteration, I pulled it to a GitHub. So like it's a separate contain. And from there, I use Cursor to use it. And I think I use Sonnet Base, not Claude, the newer one, but like the
okay,
older
yeah, the
version of Claude.
previous.
Yeah. So base to do that, but it still didn't. And I was at the time I was researching which will be the most accurate or most effective ones to use on the LLM side. So I used one of those to do it, but still, it just didn't deliver what I asked for. So, all
You
right,
were gonna
let's
bring
see.
up junior ones though, right? Were we gonna talk about that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I
think
think it was
so. I think this could be more broad, honestly. I think yes, because we're in the dev industry, we could talk about junior devs, but I think this is across the board, like all industries. At
here.
least the
Keep
idea.
talking. I lost my cork, so I'm gonna look for it. But you
Okay,
can
I'll
keep
keep
talking.
talking. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Um,
I hear you.
so I think for junior devs, it's going to be. I don't know how a junior dev comes into the industry right now without having a company that's going to help him, like a peer model, and kind of walk along the process because there is no need. So the previous need for junior devs was to do not somewhat remedial tasks or tasks that could take a long time, and you didn't have to worry about like the speed of it or
Cost
maybe
of
the quality initially, and it could be redone. Right? That was the like that wasn't the need of a junior, but there was always a need for that type of work, and we could get people into the industry that way. Not a problem. Similar in other industries. Now, speaking firsthand, we haven't really hired we did it early on, haven't really ever since. And that wasn't because they're not good, because just our type of work, and the type and speed of work that we have always done, it was hard for that. So I think we were kind of good for this model of we've never really needed them. However, we've needed people to be that and then eventually be at a level, right? There's companies out there that actually needed that work that I was talking about, so it could hire the people, or just were big enough that they knew, like, you always want to kind of build the next generation of people, right? Today, there is no need. Those tasks are not needed to be done by junior developers, and I would say even senior developer level can be done faster, easier, less hassle, um, by architect managers, development managers, I would say, with the AI tools that exist today, which is scary to say because at least I'm past it, but I'm also right at the edge of things where I still like to do those types of tasks and like
Yeah,
to work with those people a lot,
right.
because that's how I've learned over the years. So there's like just saying that out loud and like talking through that. It's like, yes, we're getting a win right now because those people aren't quote unquote needed by businesses, so they don't have to spend money on them. But the people at that level and those roles were needed by even the most senior technical people because they have the ideas that we're not thinking of anymore.
Hmm.
And that's going to very quickly erode our abilities at senior levels to do the types of things, even though we can do it with AI. And I don't think I can replace that because I've talked about this before around experience, like human experiences bring into a lot of the the way I solve problems and the way those people have solved problems, that their experience changed the way they, try to do something, and then I learned something from that. Gets a little theoretical, but I think that's a huge issue even in technical industries.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree because I know because two things. That one, yes, junior developers, like, they might be replaceable by this whole AI stuff, but you need to be preparing certain group of people to get to their senior level. And you have to go through junior level to senior level to learn that process. That's called experience. And that experience, now you can look at it, but these people will get old and whatever, but what are you going to do after this whole deplete of gap in there? And also, like you said, that you learn so much by teaching. That's like the best way to learn more, but that's gone. Like, you're not really teaching AI. Like, you're fighting with AI a lot, but it's not really teaching moment. Like, that its perception is very different and it's not the same thing. They're not gonna grow as a junior developers grow. So there's two things that are very concerning about this whole thing, because even though the need might not be there and then for the whoever cost reasons, it's something that we probably need to cautiously be aware to foster those junior guys to get to the senior level. And that's kind of scary in a way. Um, I think that was, yeah. So that was, so yeah. And I'm kind of curious about what's your thoughts on this open claw? I know it's like a kind of hot topic.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I've been using it for about a week, played around with it before that.
Hmm.
I'll caveat this with the disclaimer because anytime I mention it online, I get flooded with security issues, or people saying that there's security issues, which there are. And that's the disclaimer. This is a tool, um, built by a single individual, let's say, but he built a bot that then built the tool, or it built itself. Like, let's just say that out loud, and then you understand. Yes, there are security issues. It is also removed a lot of security layers that were necessary for it to function the way it can function. And now it's being refined. It will be refined, and but that like throw those two things out there, and you understand why. Yes, there's lots of security issues around it. Um, but I'm using it. I'm not using it on the laptop I work on. We talked about this. I had an old Mac or iMac, or sorry, Mac Mini. I've had all those things, but I had an old Mac Mini that I was going to use for a while and then decided not to use it. So it was just gathering dust. I was like, well, everyone's talking about it. So yeah, I had it. It was wiped. So brand new install of Mac OS, upgraded to the latest version of Mac OS, and then installed it. It has no accounts. It has not even my Apple account on it. And I put I mean, I'll just walk through the security things I did. It has its own Wi-Fi network on my network, and that's secured in a certain way that, yes, I trust that it is relatively secure, more secure than most. And you start with that, and then I can build on it. And I mean, getting beyond that, it's said it in a video, it's amazing. I think it is amazing. And then the more I use it, the more shocked I am. I honestly cannot fill up the tasks fast enough for to test out its ability to it should be able to, it'll eventually be able to manage and prioritize tasks, but I cannot get the queue big enough for it to ever do that. It completes things so fast. It completes things that should have taken days or weeks
Hmm.
in sometimes minutes, because it can read documentation so fast, API documentation, and it knows certain things, but it's mainly just reading and then building. And it does it so fast and burns through so many tokens. I will say that. Like, it's not free.
Yeah.
Um, but the speed, and that's what I was saying, like my ability to, or need to use junior or even senior developers going forward. Um, yeah, I mean, I need, we on our team, we need people to actually think through problems and think through like the solution
Hmm.
and do it. But I think the doing it for our whole team is now replaced. Um, Very likely, because it's more than Claude by itself. It can actually organize outside of a command line or outside of a single code repository. And it can think across all kinds of things now.
The article I read recently about this, it's funny that it was kind of popping up, and I'm guessing it's popping up everywhere, is about how, like, it's about security too, and then how business owners, because of the hype, everyone's jumping into it and just prematurely going there. But I get that, and also I actually go back to how we were talking about that I'm not that concerned about you using it because you know technical stuff behind it to what
Yeah.
to look out for, what to watch out for. So someone like you with a technical background, business owner who's a technical background, it's probably a little safer to use it. As to this article was kind of generalizing all these business owners, agency owners, just kind of starting to get hype into it because it's like it's going to be so productive. I get it, but you need to understand certain things
Yeah.
to not
A lot of things.
put everything. Well, yeah, a lot of things. Yeah.
Like, well, think of like if you were willing to give everyone your passwords and credentials, and I don't mean just a thing. If you're willing to give everyone access to all of your things now, then you could go ahead and install it. Like, because that's what would happen very quickly. If you just install it on your laptop, you're then completely wide open almost instantly. Like that's how bad it is, and not because it's badly coded. It's built to be that way. Like, people need to understand that, and most don't, because it's a single line, right? You copy and paste, and it'll install, and you have to go through some prompts, but it wouldn't take me or or a developer that has malicious talk to change that and give you a different thing to copy and paste, and then it does all the things for you, and you then copy and paste it from the internet, um, and now it tells you, oh, thank you, and it does the thing here, but it's doing all the other things in the background. Like, you're essentially installing malware, um, unless you know exactly how to install it, where to install it. Um, I mean,
Do you have any recommendations for who are not technical to like just basic things that they should be aware of?
I mean, if you're kind of like very interested and you're a technologist, but you're scared of it, there are ways. Like I saw, there's a couple of hosts. Cloud. I can't remember. I got some emails around some hosts that allow it to be installed.
Mhm.
So you could install it in a server. You could do, I mean, you could do it on AWS also, but then your credits are going to go through the roof. But there's ways of doing it like in a small environment, right? That would allow you to do it. And then, because then you're only, it's similar to installing it on hardware that you have access to. Like if you have that, you could just do that. Like you don't have to do all the network stuff that I did. Like you could just do that and then don't create accounts on it.
Wait, what do you mean?
And
Like, just separate the different machine to do it,
so
or
if you have a physical old machine, wipe it, clean it out. The safe way to do it, you can then install it, right? And it's when you start, like if you log into Google with your account, well, it then has access to that. So just don't do that, right? So just start using it and knowing that and only do the things on there that you want it to have access to. And again, everyone to have access to, unless you're going to unless you're going to lock it down. So it's kind of interesting and fun to do that, to see what it can do if you're just interested in that. If you're looking to get more involved, I think you kind of have to wait, or unless you know all the networking things to kind of lock down, because there's nothing out there. Uh, by the time this gets released, I don't know, we're for a month out or whatever,
yeah,
there will be products out there.
yeah,
I mean, it's going that fast, and the actual opportunity here, or a tool like this to exist with a paid platform that is secure, is huge. There's going to be multiple companies building this, I think.
yeah. But I think that's also the opportunity too, because I'm pretty sure that people who are not technical enough and they're cautious about security, they'll rather pay for the security measure that's wrapping around it instead of you just completely vulnerable. Because I mean, like you said, like if the safest way is just wait, set up like I don't even know if people know how to format their laptops or not, but get the machines and wipe out everything. It's not deleting individually. You have to actually
Mhm.
format it. Completely wipe out everything, history, cookies, and whatever. Completely wipe out and then play with it. Or, like you said, the AWS other clouds, but that's actually a little more complicated unless you know how to set up, spin up the instance on there and whatever. So, or wait until some sort of security measure product is out there for you to experiment with it. Or just buy a completely brand new thing and then start playing on that thing.
Yeah, I mean, so again, there's all those options, and by the time we go live with this video, all those options, including the SaaS products, you'll be able to go to. It'll be renamed, but it'll be something, and it'll promise all this functionality. And then it'll probably monitor, like it'll be tied to monitoring what accounts you are logging in, and like it'll have to lock down certain functionality that is actually really cool, unfortunately. But it'll be safer that way, for sure.
Yeah. But it's really just like, it's like it can be security wise, it can be more open than you think. So just be very, very cautious of using it. Yeah. But anyways, there's one more thing. It's like, I don't know if it's some topic that I want to
You
talk
said
about.
three.
The third one, I
Yeah.
mean, we're almost on time, but it's I don't know. I don't know if I understand this thing. Apocalypse? Why your website is a ghost town? Are you interested in reading about
Because
this?
it's not needed anymore, maybe.
So in 2026, the biggest threat to web development isn't better work frame, it's a zero UI movement.
Okay.
Okay. So the users are stop browsing. Instead, they're going to bigagnes.com. I don't know what that is. Searching for tent, checking out, telling Siri, Gemini Cloud Agent, find me two-person tent under whatever. So they're
Yeah.
using LLM
Yeah.
more than actual website to look at it.
The thing I learned, again, going back to OpenClaw now, is that just watching how it does things. So, and it has documentation. People are talking about this. When it can interact with an API, I talked about it can interact with the documentation of API and then create it is amazingly fast. Um, when it has to go to websites, because it operates with a screenshot and then make adjustments and then screenshot, that's super slow and intensive. right?
Okay.
So it needs for all of us web developers to make sure our sites spit out data for it only. And all the LLMs work this way because they this kind of surfaces how the other ones can potentially work as well. A lot of them will take screenshots and evaluate the things, right? That's how the things work today. Unless there's data, like unless they can access data specifically, then it doesn't need any of the UI anymore. And I think that's what this is talking about. Like as soon as the bots take over, and they're the only ones crawling sites, they only need the data side of things, the JSON or the feeds of some kind, and then they can represent the data. But they're still representing data in a UI to end users. It's just only the big 20 companies. I don't know how many they're going to be. Maybe it'll go back down to one and be the Google of whatever again. But eventually, everyone's going to go to their thing and use their kind of interface, and the UI will be less dependent, I guess, would be apocalypse. But that's, I don't know. I think websites maybe, but like you still have regular apps that people use for different like physical apps, and there's still development around those. Um,
So people who are kind of, well, I feel like we're still kind of in the in between phase about all this LLMs taking over versus
mhm.
you still have people going to the site. Although I don't know how long this is going to last on that, but I don't think people will ever just go to LLMs. I don't know. Maybe like people just get lazy and just
I
go to LLMs, but
I think it depends on the site and the content, right? Like if you look at news, entertainment websites that are purely content, text, and images, um, you can get that information. Like the bots are scraping all the stuff and then throwing it into results. So people aren't going like there's a barrier now of like, all right, I queried this thing, it's showing me, and I don't need to go there anymore. Um, the sites that are more like the product sites, that's a big one because yes, they'll get research through the bots, but most people still want to go to the website and see what the website's saying it's doing, like the product, the company's website. Um, and then you still have like I don't know, like I can't function. Again, my whole work is dependent on these things existing, but I can't work without multiple monitors and like big UI. Like
Mhm.
I'm a human and I need to see imagery and stuff, right? So it still has to present it somewhere for most people to consume information, I think. I don't know.
yeah. Do you is there any recommended path for to be prepared for both ends? To say anything. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna be talking about this on the later episodes.
Well, I mean, I think you should have already been prepared for both paths because we've already like at today, right? You should have been creating like WordPress has a JSON, WP JSON like
Yeah.
output. Drupal has a similar API, JSON API. Like that data has already been surfaced. If you're not using a CMS that's doing that, then it's having to catch up basically and do it because it's WordPress, Drupal, even Contentful. I think has the ability to like plenty of these already have the ability to do this. Um,
But I don't think it's out of the box. I think you have to actually have some
um,
sort of plugins or modules or to surface that. So
yes,
unless you know you're all SEO heavy about it, like most companies do, but you might not be doing it already.
yeah. I mean, I obviously I say this because I know how to do it, and I know how. I did a whole actually presentation this last summer on it.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
very easy. You just have some sites you do have to enable. Some sites you have to enable things that allow you to have show more content. Um,
But we
so it
will
is not completely out of the box everywhere.
we'll have Matt record that quick tips on that, and then we'll
Yeah.
publish that in our media endeavor.
Mm. Can I do it while I'm camping?
Yeah, and I'll actually put a link to go to the site, go to the
I
content.
maybe this is a formal HR work request. I'm
Mhm.
gonna, we're already remote, but I'm gonna request to be able to work remote this summer with my
Go
Starlink.
for it. I'm the HR, so yeah, approved. So
But, I was talking about my 3 monitor setup, my
yeah.
2 plus laptop. I don't know how I'm gonna do
No, I
that.
told you about this. I told you about this. Like
Oh,
I
the
was,
middle the mini one?
yeah, I was trying to get a new monitor because like it
Yeah.
was literally impossible to put it in, and like it actually like it literally stick to your laptop and flips out like a butterfly.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't that expensive either. So look
So
into
then it
that.
gives you 2 screens plus your monitor screen?
So like your monitor screen, and then you have like a two flipping out, so it's like two more on top of it. And I was like, whoa. Didn't look that heavy either. It was like it's a foldable thing, so you just kind of. But yeah, look into that.
Alright. I also say wait until the summer or at least spring because, I don't like to freeze. We've talked about this. I mean, I know you don't, that's why you moved to Florida, but I like my 40-degree winters. Uh,
Hey, I don't know. I had mixed feelings about that, but I realized that I couldn't really handle the cold anymore. So I was
yeah,
like, all right, maybe I'll take it back.
I'll get there eventually. I'll move down with my parents in Arizona maybe.
Anyways, I am out of my drinks, but this was a very interesting conversation because I know we can probably talk about other things more and longer.
Yeah.
I was almost force you to stop it on some of the topics because we probably have more things to talk about. But stay tuned, we'll talk about it. And anything to add before I wrap this up? Or we wrap this up?
No, I have to go check and make sure my computer hasn't been completely taken over, but I will see everyone later.